Hello everyone on YouTube, Mr. Tomo2304 here, bringing you a little bit of Bleach. This is my first ever video, and today we're going to review chapter 496, Kill the Shadow. Right, so this chapter starts off in the 13th Division. We see Kajimaru Hidetomo protecting Shino and Yuki. Even though we all know we'd rather them die, he's there gallantly protecting them. From the blonde Quincy, who is yet unnamed. So the blonde Quincy strides up to him. Kajimaru does a bit of a Gandalf, you shall not pass. But the blonde Quincy basically says you can run away because you're not very powerful. However, Kajimaru decides he's going to keep fighting. He kind of gets, I think he gets split in half. The blonde Quincy just sort of moves his arm and splits him in two, which is pretty gruesome. But all the same, so Kajimaru gets killed, and we get to see Byakuya and Renji versus As Not, and the Luchador Quincy, who I don't care about. So we have, so Byakuya comes in, reminds Renji that they killed Vice Captain Sasakibe and therefore don't deserve any pity. So As Not begins to move forward, and Byakuya strikes him with a Shikai. Renji tells him it's useless though because they don't work. But Byakuya likes to remind him that he is Byakuya and therefore a bit of a boss. And As Not's hand explodes with blood. The Luchador Quincy kind of rages a little bit and tells As Not to let his Blut get torn so easily, Blut being the Quincy version of Hiero, I'm fairly sure. However, the Luchador Quincy crumbles through the floor in what is very reminiscent of Uryu sending Yami through the ceiling of Las Noches. So it's just 2 versus 1, which is interesting because the Shinigami usually have their sort of code of honor, which is 1v1 fights. But it shows just how desperate the situation has got now that Byakuya is enforcing a 2v1 system. Byakuya tells Renji that if As Not manages to seal his Bankai, defeat him with yours. This is their plan. If the Quincy can seal the Bankai, then if they battle them captain and vice captain side by side, then the vice captain can then destroy the Bankai when it's been sealed, essentially. So we see that Tetsuzaimon and Komamura are about to duke it out with Bambietta Bastabine. We get a better look at Matsumoto after a new look. Her hair is a bit more detailed. It's shaggier. There's a lot more shading on it. She also seems to have a short-sleeved kimono now. And some kind of shoulder pad. But you can't see it very well, to be honest. We also get we get a first look at Omeda. He hasn't changed at all. Not that anyone would care if he had. So then, this is really cool, actually. The 4 captains, Byakuya, Komamura, Toshiro, and Soifon, activate their Bankai. So we get Senbon, Zakura, Kageyoshi, Kokicho, Tengen, Mio, Jakuho, Raikuben, and Daigoren, Hyorin, Maru, all in 2 pages, and it looks amazing. This is some of the best art we've seen from Kubo, especially this arc. So yeah, they send their Bankais flying at the Sternritter, and this is interesting because we get a good first look at the Sternritter's faces properly. The one that Soifon's fighting looks like something out of Silent Hill, like some kind of white knight. I think it looks really cool, though, I have to admit. Then you've got As Not, of course, who's fighting Byakuya and Renji, who just looks creepy as hell. And Bambietta Bastabine, just the little girl with the hat. And then you get Toshiro's person, and it's not the hooded Sternritter we saw in chapter 494. He's a bit of an Ezio-looking fella, actually. He's got a scar on his lip. He's got black hair. Definitely male, from what we can see. But then we get As Not pulling out his Bankai sealing medallion. And it shoots out some like black Reiatsu or something like that. But it captures Komamura's Tengen, Mio crumbles. Soifon's Jakuho Raikuben gets taken straight off her arm. So the captains lose their Bankai completely. I mean, essentially they walked into a trap. Because the Reiatsu goes into As Not's medallion, and to Byakuya's horror, he realises that it's not a seal. They've actually just stolen their Bankai. Whether this means they're going to now be able to use it or not, I think that's probably going to be the case. Judging by As Not's creepy smile. Although I'm not sure he's really smiling, since you can't see his mouth. But it looks like they've got their Bankai. They've got their Bankai for keeps, and I don't think the captain's going to be able to get it back. So that's the chapter. I thought it was really good. I thought it was better than last week's, although I liked last week's as well. But this one had amazing art. The pictures of all the captains doing their Bankai was incredible. It's good that we finally have confirmation on how the mechanics of the seal, well, not the mechanics as such, but what it does actually work. And it seems that Sasakibe's information that he gave them just before dying about sealing the Bankai was just there to mislead the Shinigami. So to be honest, this just increases their chances of losing even more. After the Shinigami have to fight their own Bankai, they've still got the Quincy Vollständig and his Sklavere ability to deal with as well. So to be honest, I'm not entirely sure how they're going to combat the Stern Ritters at all. But what were your thoughts on the chapter? What do you think is going to happen next chapter? My predictions is that we're going to see different fights. Maybe the start of the senior captain fights, but maybe not. The news is probably going to get around that they've stolen the Bankai. Maybe As Not is going to reveal that he can suddenly use Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi. Therefore, meaning Renji will have to use his Bankai, which is apparently completed now, according to Kubo, and therefore will look different. But maybe the lieutenants have Bankai. Maybe that's what the captains were hoping for. But I suppose we'll see next week. But until then, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, rate and comment. And it's only another week. See you then.